everybody, welcome back to F1 Manager live streams. My name's Aaron. If you're new here, welcome along. Hello to Callum, first in the chat as ever, and hello to F1 Skiddy, who's in there as well. We are back with some F1 Manager 23 action, but we've concluded our randomised grid season. There's one little bit I need to do on the back of that, which is to see what happens next with the driver market. I'll be recording that in the coming days. I've also completed the Mercedes Season 4. I finished that up recording last night. I've finished editing it today. So that will be coming later this week. So today we are starting a brand new save. And it's kind of fitting that it comes on the first weekend of the Formula One season of 2024. And we are going to be using McLaren. And we can't put any upgrades on the car until Austria. Now, of course, Austria last season was where McLaren saw their updates bear fruit in terms of performance. They came onto the car for that sprint weekend and Lando Norris had a really strong weekend. Then they went on the car for Silverstone and suddenly the McLarens were running at the front. Now, I'm not expecting that sort of massive jump in performance, but I'm hoping that we can at least do something. So we're going to have 7 or 8 races of pain to start with, and it's going to be a problem. Let's put it that way. Our goal is to score more points than McLaren did in 2023, which was something like 300 and something. Let me just double check it. F1 2023 Championship. Where were McLaren? They were 4th in the Constructors with 302 points. So that's our target, is 302 points. Now, I've done a little bit of behind the scenes work. So you'll notice something that is different about the car. You'll notice a couple of changes to one of the drivers, but the most obvious change will be the car and the livery. So I have found a mod for the livery. So if you use mods, you might already know what I'm talking about. So let's get the game going a little bit bigger. Callum wants my thoughts on the Grand Prix yesterday. I'll give you those in a second. Let me change scenes. Alright, here we are then. If I get McLaren up on my monitor as well, that would help. We are on the email page. Now, I've done this so I don't give away too much, but immediately, here's a hint of what's going on. So, let's reveal the livery. Let's have a look. And there it is. It's a retro McLaren livery. It's the late 90s, early 2000s West sponsored black and sort of grey of the Ron Dennis era. It's a livery that is so special to me because it's the livery that McLaren had when I first started watching Formula One in the late 90s. And this was the livery that Mika Hakkinen, David Coulthard drove to victories and world championships. Also Kimi Räikkönen in the early 2000s. Of course, Lewis Hamilton won his world championship with a McLaren in a chrome silver McLaren. Of course, you can still see the papaya orange in the background, but that is the livery we're going to be using. And of course, the driver suits have also changed. But I must stress, and I did search for one that was like this that didn't have West on there, because obviously West are a cigarette brand and I don't condone smoking, so I say condone it. Obviously it's up to you, but I'm not here to advertise smoking. I don't advocate for it. It's just part of this package. Yeah. Now, our second change is I've boosted Oscar Piastri's stats a little bit. He starts at rated 76, and I think this is a better reflection of the driver he was at the start of 2023. So he'll definitely do a bit better than he might have done had I not tinkered, let's say. So that's all the changes that I've made. So I think the first thing we need to do is work out where our car is good and bad. So let's have a look at the ranking on the grid. The chassis, not good. Front wing, even worse. Rear wing, not good. Side pods, they exist. That's about it. The underfloor doesn't do very much. And the suspension is probably tougher than a rock. So basically we need to update everything. That's what we need to do. So here's like a whistle-stop tour of how I do developments. We've got 14 days until the next ATR period kicks off. So we'll use some of that later on. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to get lots of nice blue, green, turquoisey numbers over here. We're going to build a stock part and then we'll start putting boosts on top of that, if that makes sense. So I'm going to have maximum drag reduction, maximum airflow to the middle of the chassis. Don't need to worry about engine cooling because the Mercedes power unit doesn't need so much engine cooling. So I can even take that down and have more performance, which we like. We like performance. So I'm going to add 3 engineers. We're going to go normal on the chassis design to start with because we're not going to be manufacturing it anyway. But we will start with an underfloor, and I will spend some of this ATR time here. I'm going to probably spread it out actually at the moment because we're going to try and do a bit of everything. We'll spread it out a little bit more. We'll have some more wind tunnel runs for the underfloor. Again, drag reduction, airflow sensitivity, minimum weight, and that gives us what we need. So our car at the moment is fairly good. I say fairly good. It excels most in high-speed corners. So we need to work on low speed and medium speed. But if we just do that with a high speed, it balances itself out. So our car at the moment is actually quite light. So we don't gain a huge amount there. We're going to rush this design. It's going to cost us $2 million, which does come out of the cost cap. And that's something we will need to be wary of when we're developing but not putting on the car, if that makes sense. So again, I'm just going to do specialist part. We're going to maximize the airflow and reduce the lifespan. Hello to Race to Glory in the chat. I will discuss the Bahrain Grand Prix once we get to the Bahrain Grand Prix in the game. But first, let's crack on with the final development part. I'm going to throw a load of wind tunnel time and CFD at the suspension. Make sure that that is giving us maximum performance. We'll leave the brake cooling as it is. And again, we'll just max out these, I suppose, because we want as much boost as we can get. What if we do brake cooling like that? It gives us a little bit more performance, so probably leave it like that. There you go. It's all. It's not an exact science. It's very much subjective. We'll go rushed again. So we've definitely spent some money since we've walked through the door at McLaren. So let's move to the race weekend. We're not going to be able to update anything on the car. The only thing we can do is optimize the setup of said car. Driver development update. But there you go. There you can see everything that I've boosted Oscar Piastri with. I've given him, it looks like I've given him some substances to boost his stats. Let's put it that way, but I definitely haven't. It's all been figurative. Let's go to the pit crew training. We'll probably just leave it at that and hope that they do the business. We've got emails. Let's pretend we've read them. And let's get prepared for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So, qualifying target, reach Q3. That is not happening. Let's try and get one car into Q2. Well, let's have a lower, 15th. Yeah, so let's see if we can get one car into Q2. We're not going to go for the fastest lap. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if we can get one car finishing 15th or better for 3 races in a row. There's your targets. That's how you build your money up on F1 Manager. So, nothing left to do but to head to the race weekend. Hello to Sean Gray in the chat. I am all good. Very excited for the start of this new save. So, we are now in Bahrain. Callum, I can address thoughts on the Bahrain Grand Prix. It was, well, I don't know if we should be surprised by how dominant at least Verstappen was. I thought Perez was impressive, but again, the Red Bull in race trim has a decisive advantage over everything else. Leclerc felt he could have challenged, but honestly, I don't think so. Mercedes ran into their issues. Aston Martin kind of fell away. And the 2024 race. Yeah, the 2024 race. It was very similar to the 2023 race, wasn't it? But I mean, it was kind of interesting for the first half of the race, and once it settled down, the top drivers kind of all ran at the same pace. McLaren were okay, they made a bit of progress. Alonso was really the one who got shuffled backwards because Aston really struggled for race pace, which was surprising. What are we going to do with practice? We are going to skip practice, that's what we're going to do, and then we're going to figure out the setup just ahead of qualifying. Hello to Pulse Potato in the chat. Let's simulate to qualifying 1. Then we'll figure out the setup and make sure the car is as optimised as it can be. Sergio Perez laying down a marker in this universe. We are 18th and 19th in practice, 2.5 seconds off the pace. That's concerning. Should we do qualifying so we get to see the car on track? I think maybe we should. I think maybe we should do Q1. Let's sort this setup out. What is going on here? There we go. That looks better. Bring the braking stability back a little bit. It's probably going to be somewhere in the 90s. Hopefully. Lando wants less rear wing. That's interesting. Cornering, we can do that. Braking stability there. Ooh. It's a little bit of a game, this. Let's try that. And then the cornering, we're going to have to max out as much as possible. What about if we do that? Oh, there we go. That helps. And then, that looks all right. I think that's okay. McLaren will be better to manage in F1 Manager 24. Absolutely right. I mean, based on the performances in Bahrain, who do you think I should manage at the start of F1 Manager 2024? Who should our first save be with? Will there be an F1 Manager 24? I hope so, because I enjoy the game. Right, let's do a qualifying and find out how good this car is. So we'll still have the orange backgrounds here, as you can see that on the drivers, and the orange tabs. So let's follow out this Alpine. Even the mechanics suits have changed. Love it. Here comes Oscar Piastri, and doesn't the car look beautiful? Well, at least it would if we were following it. So for anyone just joining, we've got a classic retro livery on the McLaren. Yes, it does have a cigarette company branding on there, but I'm not here to advertise the cigarettes.
Warm the tyres where you can.
Very strongly advise against it, but of course each to their own. Lando Norris coming out on track now as well. And he's weaving around. The weaving on this game is absolutely insane. You'll see it in the Las Vegas Mercedes video that comes out tomorrow. The weaving behind the safety car is absolutely unbelievable. Right, Oscar Piastri is probably the wrong way around. We want to be probably behind Lance Stroll because the Aston Martin's fairly quick. He'd give us a tow. But he's... Oh, this is annoying. He's going to be driving offline because there's a car behind him. Even when they're on a qualifying lap, they defend the position. It's mad. Absolutely mad. Lando with a 27.5, 27.7 for Oscar in Sector 1. Here we go then. Coming up to Sector 2. And it is a 41.5 for Oscar, but I'm guessing, well, actually, he was a bit quicker. Why is Oscar so bad in F1 Manager? No point touching him. Well, it's because he's a rookie, so the developers probably weren't sure how good he was going to be. 1.2 seconds off the pace, that's not ideal. But then Norris has basically done the same. So that's probably about as good as it's going to get for us. We'll go and put another set of soft tyres on it. Daniel Ricciardo is in from the start at AlphaTauri. I do have, I think, knocking around in the databanks, a V-carb Red Bull livery that I could chuck on that and make it a bit more fun. Let's fast forward. Bottas in the Audi. Yep, we've still got Audi because that's still in from Mercedes save. I can't really be bothered to keep moving them in and out. Maybe this is the one that I will move in and out of having on the game and not, because we're going to do a journey after Mercedes. So let's see if we can get ourselves a decent position in terms of getting a tow out of the pit lane. So that's Ricciardo and Tsunoda. Kind of want like a top team to give us a run, but I don't think we're going to be that lucky. I think we need to go now and see what happens. We're still orange dots, and Stroll comes out behind us. He's done it again. Lance Stroll comes out behind us. Okay, let's see if we can get a car out of Q1. Albon's there. Is he giving us a tow? He might give us a little bit of slipstream. Oscar is now. We're now locking out the back row of the grid here at McLaren. This is far from ideal.
Okay, you'll take the checkered flag.
You got Aston Martin to win both championships, Ben. That's pretty good going, actually. So personal bests for both drivers in Sector 1. I think Albon is he on an in-lap? I'm not really sure. Let's have a look. He's on a flying lap, actually. Somehow we've managed to get ourselves behind Alex Albon. We're setting personal bests. Can we get... Oh, we've just missed out. We've just missed out 0.06 of a second with Lando Norris. We're short. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Albon almost gave us the magic ticket, but we fall short and we fall in Q1. Oscar will line up last in his debut race. Carlos Sainz goes on to take pole position. And we're now going to get ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So, I know in real life they used hard tyres, but on the games, use mediums, they're faster. That's all you need to do. What I will do is take fuel out of the car, because we're probably going to get lapped, so we won't need it. Lando Norris has got a 99% car setup satisfaction, which is unbelievable. The braking stability is just a little bit off. Yeah, F2 drivers and race engineers aren't as good just because I suppose they're not as well known, they're not as experienced. Although the race engineers might be very experienced, in actual reality terms, but it's just not reflected within the game. So let's do a motor race. Let's get this new season underway. And We've been so used to seeing our cars at the front with Ferrari. Ferrari are still at the front. We're at the back. Where's Lando Norris? There he is. We're not as colourful now. It's not so easy to spot. Lando dropping to P17 immediately off the line. That's not ideal. And everyone just... That's a car park at turn 1. A pure car park. Bottas has got himself ahead of us. I don't like that, I'll be honest. But hopefully we can find a way through in a little bit. We'll start with the ERS battle assist. You're 6/10 clear of the field in qualifying. I mean, I've been there with Mercedes. We put some manners on everybody else at some points in that save. What I will do is just drop the ERS deployment and we will not be quite so attacking on the tyres. We'll just set this up so that when everybody else is bringing everything back down to the back down from being 10/10 all the time, we will be starting to pick up our pace, and DRS will be active. After the overhaul of regs, if you do well, it's ridiculous. Yeah, if you develop, like, research a lot ahead of season 4, because generally there's a big rule shuffle at that point, you do get a massive advantage. Well, we didn't quite get that with Mercedes. We were a bit more sort of gentle with it. There's Lando Norris up the inside of Valtteri Bottas. Get in. That's a position gained. We're back where we started with Lando. A yellow flag. Oh, there's a crash that's boosted us up the order. It was an Alpine. It's Magnussen and Gasly. Oh, contact there. Damage to the front wing. The classic Haas end plate missing there. And we move to P14 and P18 with our drivers. So that's pretty decent. Do I think F1 Manager will have the new sprint system? I kind of think they will, but I kind of hope they don't, because honestly, the sprint races even in this are a bit dull. Like, nothing happens. I mean, with the editor that I've got, as Norris moves up to P13, with the editor that I've got, I can choose which races are sprints and which aren't. And I could easily just have no sprint races. Piastri looking like he's moving forward. He is moving forward. He's just wheel to wheel. Oh, there's contact. There was contact.
Oscar, is everything okay?
Let's have a look. Is this going to show us? No, this is showing us the turn 1 overtake. We're on softs. Joe is on mediums. That explains the better traction that we get. Obviously, Joe with a slipstream as well. Here is the contact. It's a little bit of damage for Joe and a lost position or two for Chinese racer as well. How are we doing on tyres? We're probably doing a little bit better than everyone else who's on softs, so actually we're going okay. Well, we could probably do with just going a little bit more standard on them. Piastri got a penalty! What? Are you kidding me?
Keep looking after the tyre.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm very miffed at that. It's a racing incident at worst. Lando is up to P13. How far behind Bottas is Oscar? He's about to pass him with DRS, I would think. He's got... Oh no, his confidence is being wrecked. He's just run a bit wide, which is not ideal. Where was it? Turn 7. Has he got damage? He has got damage. That would explain it. And he's run completely off the circuit. So we're going to need to fix that front wing and serve a time penalty. Wow, what a debut for Oscar Piastri. Thoughts on F1 24? Well, I'm looking forward to it. I liked this year's handling model. I hope they improve the online aspect of it, and if they're going to do a bit more with the career modes, then that could be interesting. I didn't bother with the breaking point stories. It didn't interest me. If you play career mode well enough, you create your own story anyway. But also with the breaking point, even on hard, it was still really easy for an experienced player. And with, not to brag, but a player with my pace on the game, it's not really a challenge. I suppose that's what it should be. What is a challenge at the moment is us catching the Williams of Alex Albon. But I think we're doing better on our time. Only just. Ocon, 74% on his softs, so he's doing a steady job. Yeah, career mode has got boring because it's just been the same. It's very vanilla. You need to have a little bit more flavour to it, and then people will be a bit more interested in it. So we're dropping back 2 seconds behind Albon now. We could probably go aggressive on our tyres again with Lando. His tyre management on this game is incredible. In fact, if we deploy, we could get into DRS on Albon. And we have indeed got DRS on the Thai British driver. And I'm sure we'll find a way through here. Let's jump on board with Lando and see our colours in all their glory. We don't have DRS, or don't have enough battery at the moment.
And recharge on now is open.
And if you do a quick harvest into turn 1 at Bahrain, that's how much you'll recover. So you'll get plenty of juice in the battery to go and attack again later on. Yeah, it's got a driver career update, which will be welcome, I think. A lot of players will be interested in that. F1 Manager is getting slightly worse. How do you mean? How do you mean on that? Tyres getting too hot, not a problem. I think Albon's just put his foot down a bit. We need to catch up. Charles Leclerc has taken the lead for Ferrari, who weirdly in this game are competitive with Red Bull from the get-go. Norris has passed Albon, so this actually isn't too bad a race. He's just sent it, absolutely sent it. What's not so enjoyable about F1 Manager at the moment, Callum? Hello to Charlie CF1. Welcome along. F1 Manager is more fun when you get into the later seasons, yes. Sargent has overtaken Piastri, but also Piastri has damage. So that's hardly a surprise. Yeah, once you get a little bit deeper in and drivers start moving around, you can develop your car a bit more. I mean, it's a journey. It really is a journey. With Mercedes, it's taken us a long time. It took us a little while to get things sorted out. But once you do, it's all fun. You have to stick with it. You have to be a bit more patient. Yeah, if you click, if you do this, tyre temperature comes down, but it does come at the cost of pace. But if you micromanage it, then you can get some real gains from it. We're going to bring Oscar in. We'll bring him in on the optimal lap. Lando is now up into 11th because he hasn't stopped yet. We're going deeper into this race, and I think when we get onto the mediums, we'll be able to really push on them later on in the race. So let's actually bring Oscar in now for a brand new set of soft tyres. Any team, and then you'll do them until you win the championship. Well, you've got your McLaren one, so just stick with that. It was a bit of a hack at the start, Sean. You're right. I mean, I think it's been fixed to some extent. So we'll take Lando off of that now. Is Oscar coming in? We've got yellow flags. Someone had a bit of an incident. Oh, it was Piastri. It was Piastri running wide. So he's coming in for his pit stop. Oh, it's so painfully slow. Good thing we can have ×2 speed. 13.5 seconds lost. Love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, Callum got sacked from McLaren. Oh dear. Oh dear. Maybe take Haas then or something. A car that's sort of in the midfield that you're not going to get sacked from. Piastri's just ahead of Gasly, so at least he's beating an Alpine. Lando into the box, 2.5 second stop time. That's nice. We come out behind Albon, who's on mediums that are older than ours. Well, our tyres at least. We need to save fuel. So once we get to DRS, I think what I'll do is we've got into DRS now with Lando, so I'm going to get him conserving some fuel, and then he's actually gone past the Williams. So we've got some decent pace at the moment, at least with Lando, so he's doing all right. You could do Haas. Yeah. First season you won with Mercedes, then with Ferrari, and then with Red Bull. Wow. Sean is getting around in those top teams. We are closing in on Daniel Ricciardo with Lando Norris. I think the AI will all go to softs for the final stint, but they'll also burn up their softs. So this is actually working out quite nicely for us. Oscar, is he closing in on? Oh, Gasly's got ahead of him, but we're now ahead of Zhou and Magnussen. Lando is sizing up his former teammate for an overtake. Let's keep him on aggressive. When the tyres get too hot, we'll just start avoiding the high risk curbs, because then at least we can crack on immediately. I mean, I was fully expecting to be lapped. Where is the race leader? Where's Leclerc? He's about half a lap ahead of us. Just had another yellow flag there. So let's avoid the high risk curbs now with Lando. Alonso is P2. You could make your own story like life after Stunner. I like that. I do like that. And Norris is into the points. Lando Norris is in the points. Hold the phone. He's just dive bombed the Honey Badger. Beautiful stuff from Lando Nozza Norris, as Ted Kravitz calls him. And he has got peak confidence. Oscar has got very low confidence, sadly. Let's deploy with the battery and see if he can build some confidence with some fast sectors. At least that way. Lando is 5 seconds behind Ocon. I mean, taking P9 would be an absolute steal. But we are pulling away from Ricciardo. Let's deploy that battery and really crack on. Oscar's confidence is coming up. If you do personal best sectors, your confidence will rise. There we go. We get a little boost of confidence. Battery now empty. So happy hour is over for Oscar Piastri. Let's drop the deployment down with Lando as well. We've built a 4.5 second lead back to Ricciardo. So in the points, Hulkenberg is coming up quickly on soft tyres. Haas are quick at the start. Well, I say quick. Mid-grid, you can get them into Q3 at the start of a save. Let's bring the fuel back up to balanced. Cool the tyres down a little bit as well. Oscar we could probably press on with a little bit more. Going a bit more aggressive with the tyres, he will be at risk of making a mistake with low confidence. What's our lap times compared to Ocon? We are half a second a lap slower. Although, yeah, we're 0.4 a lap slower than Ocon at the moment. He's probably pushing on. They want 6th in the standings. That is a lot. That is a lot. But you've got a car that will do it. At least at the start of the save. We are currently ahead of a Mercedes. There it is. There's the Mercedes. Here's the McLaren Mercedes. The classic McLaren Mercedes look as well, by the way. Will Max Verstappen go to Mercedes in 2025? No. No. it's all... I think what might happen is we might see Christian Horner end up moving on. There might be a little bit too much pressure, and then things will settle down at Red Bull. But honestly, Verstappen's got a contract. If they enforce it, he can't go anywhere. So
Just be mindful of curbs.
he'll be in a Red Bull next season. George Russell's about to ruin our day and pass us for P9, but he's on fresh soft, so we could just tag along with him. Yeah, Max will stay at Red Bull. We've immediately dropped out of DRS range to Russell. The performance of his soft tyres far too much for us right now. But he's hunting down Ocon. There's a massive gap, and Stroll is going to pop back out of the pit lane in front of Ocon and Russell. Did we just lose 4 seconds? Yeah, Russell just did a 33.5. We did a 37.3. Absolutely incredible. What upgrade first? We've got to identify where the car is weakest. So you know whether. So you want to find out where the car is strong, where the car is weak. Decide whether you want to maximise the strong points and then deal with the weaknesses later, or bring the car into a more balanced sort of position development-wise. I tend to do a little bit more of a get the car more balanced, because once you fix what's wrong, you can then start improving everything. Also check against your rivals. Where are they weak? Where are they strong? So where could you, if your direct rival is like Alpine and they're good in high speed but they're rubbish in low speed, make your car really good at low speed, so where you're like when you go to Monaco, you get a really great result when they really struggle. So things like that. Medium tyres for Lando Norris, and we're going to have some medium tyres for Oscar Piastri as well. So we will drop out of the points here, but with the mediums we will be able to push towards the end of the race, and everyone else has got to stop again. We could probably have gone a bit harder on the tyres there, but not to worry. 2.7 second stop for Lando, and we pop out in P13 actually, which is pretty good going. That's pretty good. I think we're in a position here where we might be able to score some points. Let's stop driving in clean air, and then we'll hopefully be able to make some ground up. We are closing in on Tsunoda. So you're better in low and medium speed against Alpine, but they're... So I would maximise your low and medium speed so that when they have a rubbish weekend, if they're weaker there, make sure you're doing really well. Then deal with the high speed stuff. Right, we're back into P10. And Hulkenberg is 8.5 seconds behind on softs. Oh dear. Please hang on, Lando. Please hold on to this position. We could really do with an opening race point. Oscar is closing in on Zhou, and we saw how this ended last time these two got together. They tangled. Both of them ended up with damage. Is Oscar lapped yet? Yes, he is, but he could probably still do with conserving a bit of fuel. Lando, we will conserve the fuel with him at the end. Yeah, go with an underfloor. That would do it. That would definitely do it. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Ricciardo's had a spin and ruined his day. Ricciardo and Tsunoda are now chasing an 11th place Haas. Where have I seen this recently? Oh yes, I saw it yesterday. Yuki Tsunoda needs to grow up a little bit. He's been in Formula One now 4 years, and that whole exchange during the race and post-race tells you exactly why he's not a Red Bull driver. As Oscar Piastri takes P18 from Zhou, he just sends it down the inside. He also has DRS for the main straight. And don't worry, Zhou definitely pulled out and did not ghost through Oscar Piastri's gearbox to head to the pit lane. What's our gap to Hulkenberg? Stable at about 8.5 seconds. So that's pretty nice. And Magnussen's just past Piastri, so that's less wonderful. Did I watch Still Game? No, I haven't had a chance to yet, unfortunately. But I will get to it, hopefully at some point. Am I a Rangers or a Celtic fan? Honestly, neither. Honestly, neither. Considering how those two clubs are sort of religiously aligned, I don't fall into either category. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a side on that. I'm not the biggest fan of Scottish football. I think the standard is not particularly great, but then also it's not had the investment and the infrastructure built into it like, say, the Premier League has. So, you know, it's just shows you that the benefits of putting money into things. We put some money into our McLaren in the paint scheme, but we're doing all right. We haven't put any new upgrades on the car. Do I support a football team? I do. So I support Eastleigh, which is this team. I have a season ticket there. I live not too far away from their ground, but I grew up on the outskirts of sort of Greater London. So for better for worse, I'm a Chelsea fan. So at the moment it's for worse. To the point where, I'll put it mildly, I hate all the players. Except Thiago Silva and the goalie, Petrovic. Ricciardo had the pace yesterday and Tsunoda was getting greedy. I think just Tsunoda was getting bratty. He hadn't been able to pass Magnussen. He didn't likely to pass Magnussen. Ricciardo was coming through on softs. Just get out of his way. Honestly. If he doesn't make the pass, you can always switch them back. And they've done... We've seen teams do that before. And I felt like with the radio messages, and obviously Lauren Mecky's coming from Ferrari, I felt like AlphaTauri, Minardi, Toro Rosso, VCarb, RB, whatever they're called. I felt like they were Red Bull run by Ferrari, because it was, oh, we are checking, and oh yeah, we'll look into it. It's just smacked of Ferrari-ness. Now we should probably avoid the high-risk curbs at the moment with Lando. Oscar is doing okay. Hulkenberg is coming at us. But once we cool the tyres down, I'm sure we'll be A-okay. Ocon is kind of on his own. Gasly and Magnussen colliding has done us an absolute solid. It's allowed us to get in here and pick up this potential point. We've saved enough fuel now with Oscar. He is miles behind Magnussen. We'll just leave him be. Hulkenberg is coming though. The Hulk is coming. We might be about to get Hulk smashed out of the points, and I don't like it. There was a lot of hype around the Red Bull 2 team because everyone thought it was going to be a Red Bull clone, but it's not. And honestly, if they could have gone further, they should have, because that's what they're there to do. I mean, honestly, they've more closely aligned the two teams, but AlphaTauri are still sort of midfield at best. They're not going to crack into the points. So we're not going to get lapped. Where is Verstappen? He is... Oh, he's... Do you know what? If he was a little bit closer, he could do us a favour and keep Hulkenberg behind us, but we're not going to be quite that lucky. Piastri will come home in 19th, which, considering the race he's had, is fine. It's actually an improvement on where he started. So there's that. Let's do a nice big harvest into turn 1. And then we're just going to deploy. Max Verstappen's won the race, but we've still got a fight for a point. We've got to make sure we don't lose 4 seconds to Hulkenberg. Piastri's just coming around the final corner. Let's see him across the line. Oh, he's a little bit short on fuel. And he's just made it. Lando, are we going to get that point?
That's the checkered flag. We tried something and it didn't pay off.
We tried something and it didn't pay off. Well,
when you get to the FIA, we need to turn the car fully off.
the rookie messages there for Oscar Piastri. But Lando Norris is doing Lando Norris things. He snatches McLaren a point in the first race. That is excellent news.
Happy with that? Good job, everyone.
Yeah, very happy with that. Mourinho back to Chelsea. I would love that. Jose is the man when it comes to Chelsea. State looked alright, yeah. They looked... Actually, I thought their car looked pretty good on track. Yes, it's black, but the bright green, it's so distinctive. Very, very much a fan of that. Yes, the V-Carb car is better than it was last year. That's for certain, but still could have been a bit better this year. I mean, look at our fastest lap in comparison to Perez. We're 4.2 seconds slower. Wow. Okay, well, at least we're in the top 10 in the drivers, and we're off the mark with P6 in the standings. The McLaren objective, I think, is P7. So at the moment, we're above expectation, which is lovely. Right, let's move this on to Saudi Arabia. That's the second round of the season, Jeddah. New ATR period, but we've still got developments in progress. We will design new front and rear wings. What we'll do is basically create specialist parts, and then we'll optimize them once they get ahead, once we get more of them in. We will need to factor in the build time as well of various parts. What we should also do is upgrade the factory. We should definitely do that. We don't need to build a boardroom. Let's build a factory. 100 days. Will that... When is the... hang on. So the... Oh, okay, well... Yeah, I mean... So 100 days we can have the new factory ready before the Austrian Grand Prix, and then after that we can manufacture more parts quickly, which be helpful because we might need to manufacture more of the new parts because they're going to wear out quicker. So that will do, I think. We'll build a new factory. Here we go. Hooray! Upgrades in the form of the infrastructure here at McLaren. Can't watch Saudi. Is he going to France? Whereabouts in France are you going to? Are you going to Paul Ricard? And it's million layouts. Okay, so we've completed our first iteration of side pods. So I'll do a side pods again to show you kind of what we're going to do. So we've got the side pods done there. And we'll just continue to build. You're going to Paris. Very nice. Just going to build on that with a bit more development. So again, here we go. Drag reduction. We're just going to make sure that we get as much bang for our buck. We'll leave the engine cooling a little bit better off this time. But if you look again here, it's just going to bring it up more. So hopefully it'll do the job we want it to do with the third iteration, the fourth iteration maybe, of side pods. So we'll do normal on that, $1 million. Lovely stuff. And then our next two will be the front and rear wings to give us a bit more performance aero-wise. New underfloor. Good stuff. We'll come back to another underfloor development at a later stage, but let's split the bill with the remaining CFD and wind tunnel time on the front and rear wings. So we're going to, because it's a stock part that we're not going to use, we'll just maximize everything at the moment. Airflow sensitivity, airflow front. There we go. So again, we're getting a bit of a boost. High speed, we're going to need to zero in on a little bit more later on in the season. But I think once we raise the base level of the car, we'll be in a better position to do that. So we'll go rushed again. $2.5 million that costs. Eesh. Right. Yeah, there we go. Emails, we'll pretend we've read them. Again, the chassis is now complete. At least with the design, so we can design a rear wing. And then at least that's everything updated, well, redesigned to a second specification. And with the rear wing, just always max out your DRS delta. It gives you such an advantage because when you're in traffic and you can make those DRS overtakes, it's so important to be able to do that. Let's do this. If I can click the right bit. There we go. Look at all the lovely blue turquoise numbers. Happy days. We'll go rushed again. Another $2 million spent. There we go. Let's set some targets. Can we get a car into Q2 this time? Not even going to bother aiming for Q3. So let's head to the track. F1 Manager 24 coming in July. Yeah, it's a little while away. But we'll have F1 24 to keep us entertained until then. And talking of F1 Manager 24, who should I take with the first save? Because we're starting to see the performances of the cars now for the season. Obviously in pre-season, Haas were saying, oh yeah, we're going to be at the back, so logically that presents a nice challenge. But who would you suggest? Who do you think? Who would you like to see the Visa team? Let's sort this setup out. That looks okay for Oscar. That rear wing angle for Lando he's not happy with. Just take a little bit off that. Not perfect. Not perfect, but it'll be better than it. Yeah, if we do that, I think that looks better. Anyone outside the top 5 teams? I mean, honestly, after the weekend they had, I'm kind of vibing for Alpine. Stick a livery mod on it and then see what we can do from basically being last at the start of the save. Let's manage qualifying, see what we can do, see if we can get a driver into Q2. Oscar's going to lead the way. So Lando should get a lovely slipstream here. Hopefully we don't get any traffic. And Logan Sargent does beat traffic. Great. I mean, Oscar wasn't that far off in the end.
Fuel on the way in.
Yeah, maybe if we can bin off their staff as well, that would be interesting. Like if they give you no staff to start with, that would be interesting. You have to fill the roles before you can start developing stuff. That would be interesting. I think they need to make the driver market deeper as well. Like you can have like junior, if you've got an academy like the Alpine and Mercedes junior programs, you can have your own young drivers. We currently, I think, will have a driver in Q2. Interesting stuff here at McLaren. Hulkenberg's probably about to set a lap and just goes ahead of us. Let's get to the point where we're going to go back out. Less than 3 minutes left. Here goes everybody. we will head out as well now. Verstappen's going to be behind us. So we've been bumped down to 16th and 17th. So it's actually going better than it did in Bahrain. Gasly is swarming all over the back of Lando. We're not going to get a slipstream, which might actually be useful for Sector 1. We might set a personal best there. Hopefully we get some improvement. We need it. We don't get improvement. Lovely. But let's see what the middle sector has for us. Oscar has improved. What's Lando got? Sector 2. This lap is going in the bin, isn't it? We're down to 18th, 19th. Zhou is going to prop up the grid. Alright, Lando. Yep. Great. Didn't even improve. Neither of them improved. Fantastic. Don't you love it? Yeah, they had 2 people leave Alpine yesterday. Dirk de Beer and Matt Harnham, who were the brains behind this monstrosity of a car. Now then, we could 2-stop this race, but it's only really viable if you have a safety car. So what I'm going to do is go medium soft. No, that's the wrong button. Don't want to go attacking on the softs. Let's get the mediums to lap 30. I think well, it's not so much of a problem now because Oscar's I've boosted Oscar's stats. Let's go medium soft like that. There you go. I could have just clicked that option for Oscar, couldn't I? Duh. Do I want to underfuel? No, because even with a 100% setup satisfaction, Lando didn't improve. Haas or Alpine? I mean, not bad shouts. Who else have we got? We got Toro Rosso down there, Stake, and there's another team I'm missing. Who are we missing? Williams. Maybe Williams. Maybe Alpine, maybe Haas. Yeah, I think one of those bottom 5 teams would be a good option. Alright. Let's get the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix underway. We're back there somewhere. Yep, there's the cameras zooming across to find us. And we remain 18th and 19th after the lights go out. Although Lando is making some moves. We seem to be scrapping a lot with the Audis at the moment. And Lando finds his way ahead. Bottas has actually started on softs. That's pretty good going from Lando, actually. I'll take that. Hulk smashed into Snowden. Yeah, it does that sometimes. Tyres are getting a bit hot. Well, we didn't put Oscar on. Or did we already taken him off of deploy? Oscar is dropping well back already. DRS enabled. Let's deploy so we get in behind Sonoda. Yes, send it over on Discord. Send it on Discord. Maybe I'll put like a little channel on there for people to share their clips of their own gameplay if you want. That might be quite an interesting channel to add to the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, there's a link in the description. There should be a link in the description below. Let me check. You can watch the race. I'll check this. Where is it? It's going to be. Is it in there? Oh, no, it's not in there. Let me get the Discord link. I'll add it into...
Not easy to overtake.
Has Lando just been overtaken? He has just been overtaken by Bottas. Great. Well, Bottas can tow us along. But bear with me while I add the Discord to the description. Let's... Oh, hang on. Bear with me. There we go. In goes the Discord link. Alright, if you are not in the Discord, there is now a link in the description. Hit the link, join the Discord, and get involved in the conversation. We need to get involved in this race. Bottas, if he can tow us along with some DRS, that would be lovely jubbly. And I think he is actually. We've got to close up to Sargent. A safety car just around the point where we stop would be greatly helpful as well. There's a yellow flag. Magnussen going off the track, giving us a position. We are just on the tail of... Well, we're actually in front of Valtteri Bottas now. So we move up to the nosebleed heights of P16. I mean, he's living up to his name, isn't he? Sergio Perez, King of the Streets, is 4 seconds ahead of his teammate at the lead of this race. Can we close the gap on Sargent? What is Williams on? He's on aging mediums, and we're a bit quicker actually, so we are closing the gap on the pack ahead of us. Can we afford to push on the tyres? Probably not yet. Sargent doesn't have DRS, which is helping our cause. We are about to get some DRS from Logan Sargent. There it is. Now we should be able to close down the Williams, overtake the Williams, and then get ourselves, hopefully, onto the back of the Alpha Tauris. So if we can harvest some battery here into turn 1, we could then unleash that battery and close the gap, although it's now 2 seconds. I don't know if you can hear that outside. There are some people making an awful lot of noise. Awful lot of screaming. They've got some sort of megaphone. So let me know in the chat if you can hear that. Awful lot of screaming. Highly unnecessary for a Sunday night. We still haven't got past Sargent, which is frustrating. There we go. Right on cue. But it's cost us some time. Let's deploy. Let's push with the engine as well. We're only 14 laps into this race. Let's sit back and let it unfold a little bit. See if we can close down the gap to Ricciardo. But Sargent is now back in front of us and is going to be holding us up. So that's the power of DRS. Bottas is still here. Sargent closing the gap down to Ricciardo again. Well, a little bit. But then it's just the two AlphaTauris who are on their own. We've probably fallen back behind Sargent. We probably should keep some fuel in reserve. We are all over the gearbox of the American driver. Can we find a way through, please? Round the outside will do. There we go. Sargent playing a little bit of DRS chicken. And having it for himself. But now, can we catch those AlphaTauris? Let's get Oscar moving as well. He is up on the back of Bottas, whose tyres are starting to get a little bit second-hand. Tsunoda now the car ahead of us on old softs. So running deep in this race might give us a chance to catch them later on, which would be very useful. Hamilton, the first man in the pit lane, as Sargent now looks like he's making a move to catch us again, which is, or to pass us again, which is not helpful. There he goes. Piastri's moved forward to 16th though. I'm not sure we're going to be getting any points in this race. But maybe there's a safety car later on and we have a great opportunity. So we do the bit of a hokey cokey there with Sargent. But we have caught up to the back of, well, momentarily Sargent had caught at the back of Tsunoda. What's Tsunoda's tyres looking like? 26%. Are you for real, bro? You need to get off those tyres. They are not giving you any performance. We're now right up behind the AlphaTauri. Surely it'll go in the pit lane. Tyres in that condition. Hulkenberg's behind us on fresh mediums. And there goes Tsunoda into the pit lane. We're not at our pit window yet, so we'll just keep going. Lance Stroll leads this race, by the way. Lance Stroll is leading this race. It's crazy. Got yourself a P11. Is that Bahrain with Haas? Is that Callum? And we are still behind Tsunoda. Not Tsunoda, Sargent. Now we're ahead of him. Can we please catch Daniel Ricciardo? Let's go aggressive on the tyres. Pick up the pace. Piastri, just let him gain experience at the moment. Were we faster than Ricciardo that time? We were 0.3 quicker, but we did also have DRS. Definitely need those upgrades. You have to keep upgrading early doors, keep that momentum going. Obviously don't want to overspend too much. The song in the background at the moment makes me think of Top Gun. Got a very, very Top Gun vibe about it. When am I finishing the stream? It'll be after this race. So somewhere around 9 o'clock. Optimal pit stop lap for Lando Norris. With lap 29. Maybe we can go... Let's see if we can go one more lap. We are 10 seconds already behind Hulkenberg, who was on those mediums. We're now fighting with Albon. And losing the position to the Williams driver. Let's bring Oscar in on the same lap. We're going to double stack here at McLaren. 2 races a week. Yeah, I generally do 2 races. That's how we did it with the randomised grid. Worked out quite nicely, sort of time management wise. So in comes Lando Norris. 2.8 second stop, and just out of the way in time for Oscar Piastri, who was only 0.02 of a second slower with his stop. It's like 0.3 slower overall, so he hardly lost any time. We have fallen 5 seconds behind Sargent, who's got the jump on us with the softs. But now it's all about, can we close the gap to those in front are on mediums? It looks like there's a lot of people on softs. Yeah, most people. Verstappen's on hards, for crying out loud. What's he doing on those? Piastri falls to last position, but hopefully we can turn that around later on. Jeddah's generally a bit of a dull race, to be honest. In 5 weeks, the fun will begin for the upgrades. Yes. For the time being, it will be pain all over, as there's a virtual safety car. There is an AlphaTauri in the barrier. Yuki Tsunoda has crashed. And oh dearie me, that was... You did. Hang on, was that locked up? Or something else? Classic sweary Yuki. I mean, yeah, if we could have held out until now to pit, that would have been great. Doing a Wrexham save on EAFC. Love it.
Drive to the Delta.
Yeah, confirm.
This will give us lots of extra fuel to go and push in the final few laps, actually. Here we go.
PSC ending. Okay.
VSC ending. Let's see, can we catch anybody ahead of us? Bottas is, in fact, just ahead of us. So let's deploy with Lando, see if we can get ahead of the Audi. No way through in the first sector, but we'll get DRS here. The 2026 regulations will be interesting. The cars generally, philosophy-wise, will stay the same, like the design of them, but the power units will be different. I think they're going to have the MGU-H removed as Lando takes the position from Bottas. Things we like to see, and that's the lofty heights of P16. For now, at least. We need to push on, though. Oscar, look at that. McLaren ahead of Audi. Synchronised overtaking from our boys, but that's Sergio Perez who's coming to lap us. So we probably will finish this race a lap down. Piastri. Let's deploy, see if we can get him ahead of Bottas and just put Audi in the mud. I suppose our target with Lando is to finish ahead of Ricciardo. Red Bull on top in 2026? Well, we have seen it close up, but you never know, they might make a misstep on something. Do I think Verstappen will break the pole wins and championships records? There's a strong chance of it, but it's whether he gets bored or not. He's always talking about how he might just go and do something else. So you never know. He might go and do endurance racing. He might go and do something else. But if he carries on at this rate, absolutely he will. But then I suppose though, if he does those records, they'll be looked at in a similar way to the way Schumacher, the way they were when Schumacher held them. In that, he was just steamrollering his teammate. There was no internal competition, but Hamilton has taken a lot of wins with competitive teammates and very competitive seasons. Okay, he had the measure of Bottas, but obviously that was post Rosberg era. They weren't just going to throw another lion in the den, were they? They just simply didn't want to deal with it, and who can blame them? But yeah, I mean, it depends who they put in for 25 alongside him. Is it Ricciardo, and is he quick enough to live with Max? Or do they stick with Perez? Does Perez have a good season and they keep him on? 120 wins, that is absolutely insane, isn't it? Lewis with 103 is currently pretty amazing. Right, we've caught Ricciardo and Sargent. This is our race here with Lando. So we need to pinch the position off of these two. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the overtake aggression up to high with Lando. This could end up in the barrier, but we might as well. Might as well have some fun while we're here. I'm going to get DRS, but the problem is so will Sargent. Hello to Thai Gaming in the chat. Welcome along. We are approaching the end of the stream. I will warn you. But Lando Norris is sending it on Logan Sargent. That's what we like to see. We did get a point in the opening race in Bahrain. And we've got no updates on the car. And we won't have any updates until Austria. We are developing in the background though. So we're definitely working on things. And maybe Ricciardo is exposed enough now for us to take the position from him into turn 22. Don't mind if we do. Will we get DRS? We did get the DRS. So let's deploy and escape Daniel Ricciardo's clutches so that we don't get re-overtaken. Piastri has overtaken Bottas, by the way. We've not been paying him much attention, to be honest. But that's fine. Finishing ahead of a couple of Audis will do. Do I think someone will ever reach 200 wins? Not unless they have the best car that's just uncontested for the best part of 15 years. I don't think 200 wins is realistically ever possible. Unless they have a 25-year career. I think we're going to finish this race a lap down. Perez is coming through. He's just... I'll highlight him now. There he is, and there's Lando. So we will probably definitely need to stop pushing. Oh, we're going to finish on the lead lap. We're going to finish on the lead lap. We will finish 14th because Sergio Perez has already won the race and Ricciardo is a lap down. So we don't need to do anything.
Save as much fuel.
Confirm.
We can just stroke it home. Piastri finishes 17th. Not great. But, oh, hang on. Perez hasn't won the race. Has he won the race? No, he hasn't. I thought that was the final lap, but it's fine. We should be all good to finish in 14th. I thought the race had finished. There we go. Now the race is finished, and we will finish 14th. We will finish on the lead lap as well. So everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Time to push on these tyres.
Yeah.
Cheers for joining us, Callum. Much appreciated. Have a good week, my friend. Look out for the Mercedes episode tomorrow in Las Vegas, where George Russell could become the world champion. It's our first opportunity to clinch it. There's Oscar Piastri in our lovely McLaren Mercedes livery. But let's have a look at the final result. Sergio Perez is king of the streets once more. And he beats Max Verstappen. Mercedes, 7th and 8th. But it's very much 2x2. It's a Noah's Ark here. In the top 10 at least. And then Haas split by Williams. We got Lando to P14, which is pretty good. Audi very much in the mud. Constructors' Championship, we remain 6th, which is a decent start. 1 point from 2 races. Considering the performance of the car, I will take that indeed. And that will also bring us to the end of the stream as the suspension is completed in its design. So thank you once again, everybody, for joining me for this stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a great time. We'll be back next weekend for more McLaren with no upgrades until Austria. A few weeks' time, things will start getting a little bit more interesting than just running around at the back trying to snipe off a point. But thanks for joining me. Look out, as I said, for the Mercedes episode dropping tomorrow. That season 4 journey comes to an end this week, and then we'll start a new adventure the following Monday. So not tomorrow, the Monday after. But for now, I'll see you next time. You're the best, fans. Goodbye for now.